I could say I'm the first man. Happy to read out to you this morning. I'm very, very happy. Thank God for life. It's a very great day. It is a Thursday, and we keep moving. The 5th of October, 2023. My name is Kizzy K. This is the Voice of the People TV. We talk about sports now. We start from the local news, like I want to do. Cuts to demands. I go in local. Now, Chairman of the Nigerian Premier Football League NPFL Board, Benga Elegbeleye, says random tests would now be conducted in top flight football for the NPFL. Moving on, according to Elegbeleye, the move is to curb possible existence of drug abuse in the league. The NPFL board, according to Belegay, said he already acquired testing kits from United Kingdom. Belegay disclosed to the NPFL media that they are committed to joining the MFF, CAF, FIFA, and the global campaign for eradication of illicit substance use in sport. And this will commence soon with random tests for our players. And they are poised to arrest the stamp out illicit drugs used in the league where it exists, and we plan to collaborate with relevant government agencies to launch an enlightenment campaign which will include displays on our matchday stadium boards and media channel. The 23-24 season started last weekend with 8 matches across different centers. Matchday 2 will be played this weekend. And how well can we go and do this? Now, I want to commend the chairman, the IMC, the head of operation, David Snow, all of these guys who are really making everything looking fly for us in the local league. It's okay. It is nice to see this, but the question is, can we do it? The implementation that wants to be taken is all right. It's okay. Like, it's a welcome development. Who doesn't want to see something good? I am the number one person that wants to see it excel well in the MPFL. But the question is this. I just went through my mobile not long before I came here on air, and I was going through a phase that says the medical experts are also questioning the doping, anti-doping, the kits that we want to come bringing into the MPFL. Now, it's required that if you want to do that, you must have more hands, and it means that on every game played, on every stadium as the game unfolds, there should be medical check on it, at least minimum of 2 people in the stadium. But can we do this? Are we ready to do this? I know it's a very welcome development, but we want to eradicate all of this. We want to do it the way it's been done in Europe, but all these facilities have been put in place and it's been put in check. So we just hope everything comes out to play very well. But I must comment, like I said before, we did see the average format league last season. We saw the Super 8, now your Super 8, now your Super 8, our Super 6 as well. It was great. But now we pray everything comes out to play well for the MPFL. Now, moving on, let's talk about this one in a surprise announcement. A year earlier than planned, FIFA allocated the 2010 World Cup to Morocco, Spain, and Portugal on Wednesday, but also said Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay will host 3 matches to mark the tournament as sanitary. Now, FIFA said the joint bid for Morocco, Portugal, and Spain was a sole candidate to host the tournament. The inaugural World Cup in 1930 was held in Uruguay and won by the hosts after they defeated Argentina in the final in Montevideo. Now, Spain have been awarded the World Cup a week after being disgraced. Former chief Rubiales was forced to step down following his allegedly unsolicited case on the lips of player Jenny Hermoso at the Women's World Cup. With the World Cup being held across 6 countries and different hemispheres, it might mean some teams play their group matches in different seasons. Now, the 22 World Cup was held in Qatar, but it was moved from the traditional mid-year window and played in November and December to avoid played in the searing heat of the Gulf summer. And this is about Gianni Infantino, the Swiss international, the Swiss Italian, better words to call him, having to make sure all of these are put in check. I'm an African, and Nigerian to be exact. I could celebrate Morocco anytime for the fact that they have been numbered. Co-hosting is a World Cup. It's not a child's play. It's not a mere one. It's a World Cup. That's the body, the FIFA governing the game of football. And if we see a Morocco side coming to co-host or possibly hosting the 2030 World Cup, you would agree with me that this one sounds very cool for African soil. And maybe they could keep Walid Regragui. I don't know if they can. We are still in 2023. And that's for Morocco, and that's for the World Cup. Let's see how it gets to forward. I will be here to give you all of the updates you need to know on that. Now, let's talk about the Naples departing by Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis has assured the Napoli fans that Super Eagles prolific international Victor Osimhen will renew his contract with the club. He made us known in a chat with report where he said that the club is working out the modalities to ensure the extension of Victor Osimhen staying back at Napoli. He said Victor is always strong. He is a player who makes a team on his own. He is not in question, De Laurentiis told reports. Osimhen will renew his contract because the player here is happy, and the only one, no one is angry. They only become sad when they leave. You see that? That's from the chairman, De Laurentiis. The 24-year-old Victor Osimhen has 2 years remaining on this contract, and we have to know if he's going to be leaving. That's a man who we did see the Saudi Al Hilal coming. They came with a 150 million euro And De Laurentiis said, no, this will not work out. Later on, they approved with a 185 and never worked out. They came with 200 million euro, and Napoli said, no, we don't want to sell our best player. You could call him the best player, regardless of the players they've got, Lobotka, Vijay Scalia, and Keisa Zambo, Demi Meret, and all of these guys. It's good to talk about Victor Osimhen all the time. So we hope he stays back. I think my opinion on Victor Osimhen is the fact that someone told me yesterday, my opinion, first of all, I'm happy he stayed back. And someone said to me yesterday, if Osimhen had left, he might have struggled. Now, question is, what club came for Osimhen when ovation was very high? We saw Paris Saint-Germain coming in, and he never made a move. So they got Carlos, they got Randa Colomani, they got Gonzalo Ramos. We saw Bayern Munich coming in a swift move and never paid up. They got Harry Kane. Now, Victor Osimhen said no to Al Hilal. Not him saying no now, but the club side. And also, he didn't force the move, because if he wanted to leave, maybe he could have, requested for a leave, but he never did. So one season wonder would not do. I wouldn't be enough to judge Victor Osimhen how good he can be. Now, moving on to the next story right here. Man United captain Bruno Fernandes played the most minutes of football among elite players over the past years. The Global Player Union, talk about FIFPro, said on Wednesday, the 29-year-old Fernandes accumulated 6,666 minutes of play in 72 appearances between September 15, 2022 and 15 September 2023 for Portugal and Man United. According to FIFPro, the midfielder has logged a total of 29,486 minutes since the conclusion of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Aitana Bonmati of Barcelona have made the most appearances among women's players since July 2018 with 242 games. FIFPro has won about the workload on professional footballers and players, better words to say. This one sounds funny to bring to you, but sorry, I beg your pardon. This man, you talk about Bruno Fernandes. I won't talk about Aina Bonmati. I love Bonmati too. Bonmati looks like a Xavi, Andres Iniesta, and a Pep Guardiola when they were playing old football. But you talk about Bruno. Do you realize that Bruno wants to play every game? Bruno does not even know you can't play all the games. If Bruno has his way, he's going to play the Carabao Cup. He's going to play the FA Cup. He's going to play the league football. Talk about the Premier League. He wants to be involved in any of the league football. He just feels like I need to play every game. But I love the fact that there have been measures being taken on this. You can't play every game. The workload as a professional, you're going to break down. If you don't watch your games, that's why we have managers wanting to have squad depth for themselves. If you don't have a squad depth, then it means your team is cool to go. Your team it has all the cover up in it on your team. Now, let's talk about Chelsea defender Reece James has been hit with a one-game suspension and a £90,000 fine after abusing the match official following the start of the field against Aston Villa. James admitted the football association charge of using improper, insulting, and abusive words and behavior before he reportedly confronted the referee, Gillett, in the tunnel of Stamford Bridge. Villa won Premier League game featured that time 1-0, and the 23-year-old also was believed to have been angered when Chelsea defender Malo Gusto was sent off in the dugout in the second half of that game. Malo Gusto was dismissed for dangerous play after Gillett was advised by the VAR to check the pitch side monitor, having initially booked him for a foul on Villa Lucas team. Now, moving on, James have been watching from the sideline as he was not in the matchday squad due to injury. James sustained a hamstring injury in training last month and has not appeared for Mauricio Pochettino's side since a draw against Liverpool on the opening day of the season. Chelsea are also hoping James will be fit again to return for action on October 24th against Arsenal. That will be a London derby. We wait to see what comes out. Don't forget, that's the skipper of Chelsea, but right now he's been handed to Conor Gallagher, a childhood guy who has played for Chelsea all his life. Now let's get on to the next story. Quite interesting. Inter Milan fans will greet their former idol Romelu Lukaku later this month to read the defendant the final dean from 50,000 whistle, which will be handed out for their first, for their team home clash with Roma. The Cover North group of hardcore ultras said in the fanzine issued before Tuesday Champions League win over Benfica that they would distribute the whistle to fans around the ground and express their feeling of betrayal at the Belgium striker Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku, on loan at Roma from Chelsea, was released by Inter Milan reportedly after he was discovered trying to secure a move to arch rivals Juventus, despite professing his love for Inter. Lukaku was once again the idol of Inter fans, winning the Serie A title back in 2021 before being sold to Chelsea last summer. That summer. Lukaku also started well at Roma, netting 4 times in 5 matches in all competitions since making his debut as a substitute at the start of September. Let me talk about Lukaku before I go on. I know how this feels. Sincerely, I'm not going to try to be biased on this. Lukaku is a great player, right? Nobody want to doubt that. he wanted to force a move with his agent. You can't be having a side talk with a club side when you're on a contract. He already had pen on paper with Inter Milan, loan from Chelsea after being sold a huge amount of money. And he wanted to force a move. We know the Italian Serie A respect you. They respect him. He was an integral part under Antonio Conte, when they won the Scudetto right there. And he paired well with Lautaro Martinez. We saw that the signing the players have got. Dzeko was also there, even though he wasn't really a starter, but what you did or what he did right wasn't okay to say, because we don't want to say this happened in football. And he wanted to force a move behind the team. And what's come to worse, he came out to the media to say, I would always cherish Inter Milan anytime, any day. And the Nerazzurri fans loved him so well, but only to find out that he was trying to play games from the club side. We know the issue, we know the story. But right now, playing for Roma, his record is second to none. Top-notch record for Belgian international who have struggled with game time. Chelsea, Mauricio Pochettino said, you're not a part of my team, and you don't have a club number, so you need to leave. Now, that is a Mourinho who have reunited with his former player, trying to bring out the best in Lukaku, and just what it is. We have to wait to know what Lukaku will be doing next when they play against Inter Milan. But we have to see that. You just heard me say 50,000 whistle will be shared among fans. I don't know. I don't know if you can actually get a stand up with the fans on that very day. The crowd, the chants and the words, they will be high. I know how it can be in Italy. If you've been to Italy, you understand what I'm trying to say. Now let's move on. Talk about the UEFA Champions League game played yesterday. Alvaro Morata hit a brace at Atletico Madrid right there at Civitas Metropolitano. Twice came from behind to beat Feyenoord 3-2 and move up to Champions League Group E on Wednesday. Spanish striker Morata also has excelled this season, becoming a key figure for Diego Simeone's side in attack alongside Antoine Griezmann, who netted Atletico's other goal. Now the Rojiblancos were inconsistent, but moments of quality from Morata and Antoine Griezmann proved the difference in an end-to-end clash at the Metropolitano. You could call Civitas Metropolitano. I think they're really doing well for themselves. Antoine Griezmann, I saw the goal, one of the best goals for the week. You could give him that. Now, AC Milan also were frustrated by a disciplined Borussia Dortmund as a Group F fixture in the Champions League ended in the KG 0-0 draw at Signal Iduna Park on Wednesday. The result was Milan's second draw in the group, following a goalless match against Newcastle United, while Dortmund earned their first point of the campaign after a 2-0 lead. 2-0 loss to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Milan manager Stefano Pioli lamented the extension of the South Champions League goal drought to 4 consecutive games, including both legs of last season's semi-final against Inter Milan, which ended in a defeat. Still on the Champions League news, let's talk about Barcelona. Ferran Torres strike in Barcelona. A tense 1-0 win over Porto in the Champions League on Wednesday. And coach Xavi Hernandez's 100th game in charge of the club. Barcelona have been eliminated in the Champions League opening stage in the past 2 editions, but this hard-fought triumph on the roads put them in a strong position as Group H leaders to avoid a 3rd consecutive strikeout. Xavi Hernandez said the trip to the north of Portugal, I beg your pardon, would be the hardest group game, and his team had to dig deep, surviving the penalty which was cancelled after a VAR review, which was cancelled, and an offside goal in the gripping final stage. Barcelona midfielder Gavi was sent off in stoppage time for second yellow card. The Catalan clung on desperately to secure the victory. That's for the Blaugranas, and that's for the Catalanas. If you're a Barcelona fan, you could celebrate your team right now. Moving on to the Champions League story, holders Man City, the best club in the world at the moment, my opinion, don't get me wrong. Struck twice in the final minutes, drew Julian Alvarez and Jeremy Doku to beat host RB Leipzig 3-1 on Wednesday and rebound from successive domestic defeat to take control of Champions League Group G with maximum points. Alvarez scored with his shot from the edge of the box into the top corner in the 84th minute, and Doku slotted in as City, who had lost to Newcastle United in the EFL Cup before their league loss to Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, moved up to 6 points from 2 games in top spot. And the magic of the game yesterday was about Newcastle. But I don't want to jump to Newcastle before. Let me just talk about Man City. The Man City game is transitioning every day. Pep Guardiola's side looks very hungry. The urgency is so much. You can see how they play for the manager. They play for themselves. The spirit is high. They want to play. They want to be involved. They want to score goals. Openda scored yesterday, equalizing the game. But later on, we did see the goal from Doku. That was the last goal of the day. But I think I love the Alvarez goal. Julian Alvarez always wanting to play every game, and that man is the player who has played the second fiddle. The question is, I doubt Pep Guardiola want to see that Argentine international World Cup winner Julian Alvarez drifts to the bench again. I doubt that will be ever possible. Because if you do so, maybe you just might be killing the spirit. Now, the magic of the game, like I love to say, miracle of the game yesterday was Newcastle. The Magpies getting the result right there at St. James Park at home. It's not even about being home now. It's about the outplay, the masterclass football we did see. I could now say, Eddie, how did you do it? Newcastle United enjoyed a dream return to the Champions League at St. James Park as Paris Saint-Germain were humbled in a 4-1 victory on the Magpie side on Wednesday. Miguel Almiron, Dan Bond, Sean Longstaff and Fabian Charles scored the goal as Newcastle made their first home game in Europe Elite competition for 20 years, a night to remember. Eddie Howe's men moved to the top of what is considered the toughest Champions League group in this season's draw. Newcastle have 4 points from their opening 2 games, one more than Paris Saint-Germain, while Borussia Dortmund and AC Milan picked up the first point in a draw in Germany. The first ever clash between the club pitted the sporting interest of Saudi Arabia and Qatar head-to-head Saudi takeover 2 years ago has transformed Newcastle fortunes in a similar fashion to how the influx of cash from the Middle East has made Paris Saint-Germain the dominant force of French football over the past decade. Now, what do you want to say? How do you want to compare? Do you want to compete this side? You just don't want to do that. Now, Luis Enrique's side had players like Kylian Mbappe, Ugarte, Skriniar, Marquinhos, Randall Colomani, Gonzalo Ramos, Kylian Mbappe. All of these guys, you would know they are world-class players. They've played in this league before. It's not new to them. Now, playing against a side coming from the UK, England, Newcastle with the manager, Eddie Howe, you just would give it to them at the time, because what I did see yesterday, the first goal for Newcastle in the Champions League being scored by the Paraguay international Miguel Almiron, and I would say that Donnarumma, not in the generation, will ever get to catch that ball, because we did see the bend over from Almiron. Now look at the way they started. Look at Sean Longstaff, look at Bond, look at Cha. How do you want to compare this team to the likes of world-class players where you've got Marquinhos in a well experience? So I could say everybody knows that was the strongest group. Where you have Borussia Dortmund, you have AC Milan, there's a PSG, there's a Newcastle. If you want to rate all of these teams, talk about play in the Champions League, you would agree with me that Newcastle should be the lesser side, not even worthy of being on top of the log. These guys are new to the league. Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, these guys are so young. I mean, young in the game, not young by the age. But you can't compare with that of AC Milan's Van der Piolle side, the Signal Iduna team, talk about Paris Saint-Germain. So right now, they are on top of the log, and we'll give it to them. But don't forget, the football continues tonight again, where we'll be seeing great football come. The Europa League is back, like a Thursday football, and also the Europa Conference League. And if your club is being found in this side, then you could say you're enjoying the Thursday night football. But for the Champions League, it is gone for now, but it returns again back, and I'll keep you updated just as it unfolds. But shout out to the best teams that got the result right, and those teams that got it wrong, the likes of Man United, I don't know, the likes of Napoli. This is just what it is. That's the game, and that's the magic. So for Man United, I would just want to go before let me quickly say this now. A whole lot is really going on at United at the moment. The manager Erik ten Hag and his team are facing a whole lot of shambolic display at the moment, and we did see that Boateng coming to say he should be sacked. We're going to wait to know how it comes. Carabao Cup he won. For me, it's a yardstick, but I want to say that Man United team play, it's a problem. Some say let's put the blame on Andre Onana, why some say the manager is a problem. Sancho has said, never would I apologize to the manager, and anything that once happened is open for it. We saw the deactivating of our Instagram account from United and Sancho, and all of this, I'll keep you updated to know how it goes. But for now, I need to sign out. My time is far gone, but I'll be back on the TV for you again tomorrow. Hopefully, that's a Friday where the show will be coming to an end for the week. At that point, we'll be talking about the Europa Conference League and the Europa games that was played across the globe. But for now, I'm signing out. This is best place to be. Don't change the channel. Keep watching Voice of People TV. It is a sports right show. My name is Kizzy. Have a beautiful Monday. Thursday morning. I'm not taking you back. We're moving forward. Have a beautiful Thursday morning, and also have a great weekend. Like I want to say, if you're not doing it right, you are definitely doing it wrong. My name is Kizzy. Peace out.